Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Asama Taka from Team Stand and Draw. Yep, just throwing y'all deck profile. Just woke up about 20, 30 minutes ago, roughly. And I had my breakfast sandwich. You know, this, that, and a third. Nah, that's beside the point. And when I'm talking to you deck profile, my Megacolony deck. Finally finished this, that. I'm going to swing it to you. I mean, I probably put up deck profiles in the past, but that was before we finally got our grand power-up from set 15. A great long-awaited power-up. I'm sure all you Megacolony players probably agree with me too, because you know we waited a very, very long time for this power-up. Very long time. So, with that said, let's get started. Generic starter that needs to be used in the current Megacolony meta for us players. It's the Forerunner, old grade 0, where skill CB1 put into the soul on hit when boosting a unit, and you can stop a unit from standing. Very good card. It's a Forerunner, applies pressure. Last minute, especially you have that one free counterblast that you know more or less isn't a machining if you're not running a strictly machining card in your deck. You can use him, get the counterblast, stop a unit from standing, whether it be the top rear guard or below vanguard, to stop one, to, you know, either bump down the power or stop one other attack from coming at you. So it's actually a pretty good card to have. I liked it since day one, since I started playing this clan. It sticks to the trait, and it really helps more or less to apply the pressure that's needed. So that's the grade 0. Grade 1s, I run 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the main ride of the deck, or more or less needs to be the main ride of the deck. This is the Machining Mosquito. I've been playing with this card since since the beginning of the Megacolony. I more or less like the card because in the beginning it helped me draw cards for that one unit, that 10k unit that if you Soul Blast 2 or 3, you draw a card on hit. So, but now that the machines have finally gained extra support, this is probably one of the most crucial cards in the deck, considering, you know, more or less in this deck or in the machining, you know, in the machining part of the clan, machining part of the sub-clan, it needs the soul, it needs to provide a soul to be able to pull off some of its effects. So, and this is the reason why this is probably one of the best cards to play. The most preferable grade 1 to play in the deck, preferably, that's how I feel. Next is 1, 2, 3. This is Caucasus, Machining Caucasus. Caucasus skill is, you know, when it's boosting a machining unit, stop unit from standing when you get the hit, when it's boosting. And this card, more or less, it was definitely this, but without a cost. And when I seen this card, I was pretty damn happy, because I said I no longer need to counterblast to pull off a skill anywhere along the lines of the grade 0 Megacolony Battler, or what's his name, or that other unit that supposedly stops a unit from standing by counterblasting 1 or 2. So I was pretty happy when Caucasus came out. It's a great card. At the end of the day, once again, machining is more or less known not to have a heavy cost, but with the current support, its cost is actually increased. Instead of having no cost, it has more of a heavy cost. But at the end of the day, it still managed to stick to the cards that don't really require any cost at all, which actually gave us some form of an upper hand. And it also once again still applies great pressure, because I don't think the opponents would mind it if we're the one using up counterblast, knowing as us as Megacolony players we cannot damage on flip. So even if we do use the skill and it had a counterblast, they will let it happen because they know they're just going to restand and external replace it. So we wasted a counterblast knowing that they will replace it. But since it's free of cost, we can use the skill over and over again and not have to worry about the use of counterblast. All we have to do is make sure we're boosting a machining unit. So that's definitely a plus to the machining clan. Next is 1, 2, 3, 4. I run 4 Paralyzed Madonna. Bread and Butter Girl is his deck. Oh God. Come on, Megacolony players. Not that I'm saying we necessarily need to be happy about this. That's my door. That's my door. I know, pretty catchy tone, right? I'm pretty sure you heard this in one of my other videos in the past, but that's beside the point. Yeah, again, it's still the morning, so people will be knocking on the door frequently. Probably one of the girls coming in, one of my nieces coming in to get ready to go to school. All right, anyway, that life aside, back to the deck profile. Yeah, so 4 Paralyzed Madonna. Again, aren't you Megacolony players happy that, you know, Paralyzed Madonna is no longer like $5? She's $10 now. She holds a really good, significant price in terms of the market. She can now be sold for something good. 4 of these is $40 in your pocket. Not that I'm saying I sell my cards, but, again, her price went up. That's a great thing. She's now $8 to $10. That's fan-fucking-tastic, is it not? Like, please. I do believe I would like your input in the comment section about how grand the price has spiked for this card, for this great woman in this clan. Anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah, 4 perfect gods. As to why I don't run the Quentin Walls, you already have Hercules counterblasting 2, and counterblasting 1 is already way too much considering the Machining Clan already was not counterblasting to begin with until the Set 15 support came out. I've already been over this before, but once again I'll say it, now that Hercules is now inside my deck, I just do not feel the need to put the Quentin Wall inside the deck. Because, for one, I'll be entirely honest with you, this may make me a pancake to some that I know, but, I would have at least put 1 Quentin Wall in the deck. If, and only if, we had damage on flippers. But we don't even have that. We were just given a break ride. We were just given a card that self-generates crits. We were just given some decent 11Ks. And on top of that, out of these units, we were pretty much legitimately just given a card that does some pretty excessive counterblasting. And we still weren't given a damage on flipper. On top of that, we weren't even given a different draw trigger. Do you know how depressing that is to a lot of us Megacolony players? We got all of this pretty decent support, but we didn't get a draw trigger. We got this crazy put 16 inside a deck for a stand trigger, but no draw trigger. We need a draw trigger. We yearn for this. We need this in our lives. This draw trigger that we have now, we've had this since we've really pretty much had this since the beginning. But it's only gotten us so far. Damn near, it hasn't really gotten us anywhere. It's given us hand power, but we only have one kind of draw trigger. I guarantee you, if we had a different kind of draw trigger and it was a machining draw trigger, I guarantee you this deck would probably start borderlining from tier 2 to tier 1. I'm just gonna over exaggerate that just because I can. I mean, it's more or less true. Like, that's how I feel. Anyway, and last but not least, the one card that we all Megacolonies feel should have been put back in the deck once the new support came out. This is Millipede. Stealth Millipede. Millipede's skill. He's a 10k booster. We needed this in our lives because with Hercules, the Cyclomatooth plus Hercules plus this plus Hercules effect, that's a 41k swinging at your Vanguard plus a crit. So that's the reason why Millipede is such a great card. If it's 30, I guarantee you Quentin Wall and it's all fine. But if you're swinging with Millipede supported with the 10k boost, 41, a Quentin Wall's not going to save you. Because I guarantee you, my opponent's not always going to have over a 41k shield when they do that top 5 for that Quintet. So they're going to have to drop some more cards for me. That's the reason why I prefer the 41 over the 31. So, and on top of that, even after I'm no longer in the use, or I can no longer use Hercules effect for the self-generating for plus 10. Sorry. Millipede still helps me hit 30. So, and if I stop something from resting after I can no longer hit 30, I'm hitting 23 because I'm using Hercules' effect to Soul Blast my 1 to swing for 23 with the boost. Since Hercules' effect, second effect is Soul Blast 1. Right, rest everything on the field. In which case, that chains off with Millipede's effect, which he now becomes a 10k booster. So instead of it being 18 or something, it's now with the effect everything's resting, 10k plus a Soul Blast, 13, 23. So at the end of the day, my opponent is still dropping a 10 and a 5 for me. The 10 and a 5s are really important for my opponent to drop with this deck. That's how I feel, and I'm sure all Megacolony players feel the same way. That's my great ones. Grade 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guarantee you, if there's one thing this Megacolony clan needed the most, since we didn't originally have a very effective or powerful archetype, now that we actually got the support for our archetype and our one and only, it's our 12k beat stick. 12k beat stick more or less holds significance inside the Megacolony clan because we didn't have something that actually hit for a number beyond 11. So, like by itself. So with the 12k beat stick, we now have it. We can now have our 12k beat stick soldier, red soldier, and then we also have our random mosquito swinging for 19. So my opponent's dropping a 10. So add all effects to rear, 10 and a 5. So we needed this 12k beats in our life. I can't really elaborate too much as to why we needed it. We just needed a 12k beat stick because if you take a minute to think about it, every other clan in Vanguard that pretty much had a sub clan pretty much was provided with a 12K beat stick, pretty much. Almost all of them. We were really the only ones that wasn't given a 12K beat stick. And now that we have one, we're actually viewed as a much stronger and more bigger threat. Next is 1, 2, 3. This is Machining Armor Beetle. Machining Armor Beetle's skill is on placement. Sorry, let me just set up a bit. Machining Armor Beetle's skill is on placement on van and rear. If there's a machining unit on the rear guard, pop it into the soul and stop a unit from standing. Now this card, the reason why I have 3 inside the deck, I originally ran 4, but I felt some changes needed to be made because, there are times when I do end up riding this unit and I don't have a machining on the field, so its effect does become wasted, but it's still a 9K, so it's not entirely bad. But I more or less preferred it to be 3. It was 4 at first, but I wanted to bump it down to 3. Strange yet compelling reasons. I have him here because in the scenario that, let's say I run out of mosquitoes, but I have machines on the field, and I have the hand power, enough hand power to play maybe 1 or 2 cards and still have hand power and still have enough to retain in my hand to be able to block my opponent. It'll probably be something like this. Let's say it's a grade 1, grade 2, and this is an open slot. Yeah. Okay, so it'll probably go something like this. It'll probably go something like this. It'll be grade 2, play this. Grade 1's already here. Puts you into the soul. This row didn't have a row established at first, but play him, the row's been established. I may have lost 1 card in terms of field reliant, in terms of field, but I have another card to place over it, especially if it's the same copy that I just put into the soul. It's not bad if I'm just placing 1 card. As long as I know I have enough hand, I don't mind getting rid of one of the cards in my hand to play to replace the card that was just put into the soul. It's only when I have an extra copy. And that more or less tends to be very often. That's the reason why I like it. It helps me, recover the soul that I lost in the past when I was using my Hercules beetle. So that's the reason why I like them. Now, my next 2 are just 2 of my machining manas. Now, don't get me wrong. In the past, when I was playing the old machining support, this card was hell to fight against. This on placement for 3K to swing for 12, this was a really good ass card. Especially if I was using Stag Beetle. Stag Beetle, placement, pull out 2 machinings, and the Stag Beetle gets the power. Now, with the grade 0, this is what I normally do. Obviously, most machining players would. Grade 0, mana stands up, it gets to +2 because there's a machining in soul. Automatically, right off the back, I didn't have to waste any hand to be able to play another card that just instantaneously get to 12. Now, it's temporary, yes, I understand that, but it's still a 12K. Late game, when my opponent doesn't have a lot of hand power and I'm trying to get a good field, Manus actually held a really large amount of significance at that last point in the game. So, and having this 12K swinging at any point in time when I play it on the field is actually really good, and even though it's only temporary and it just becomes a 9K, I have no problem with that. It's still okay to me. Last but not least, I run 2 of the Spider. Or a Tarantula, whatever you want to call it. Machine Tarantula skill, CV1, special counterblast. A machining, and when this unit hits, and when it hits the Vanguard, you can stop a unit from staying by special counterblasting machining. So, and I have him in here just for the pressure, to be honest. I mean, I'm not going to say people don't fear the Tarantula. I'm not going to say that. But at the same time, people wouldn't want this to hit considering just 1 special counterblast. So in the scenario that, I've used my Hercules skill twice, 2 and 2, and there's still one machining left that hasn't been counterblast, I could just use this for the pressure and just apply all effects. 19 plus 7, 26. Stop a unit from standing if they let it hit. So that's the reason why he's there. My grade 3s, the generic grade 3 lineup, thanks to the set 15 support for Cyclamen Tooth, Break Ride skill. Fix my position again. Cyclamen Tooth, I personally believe, even though it's not a machining, it would have been pretty badass if it was a machining card. I personally would have been very happy indeed. Because, we needed that in our lives. A machining Break Ride, that just would have been so positive. Like, I really would have sat here and cried if that was the case. That's not the point. Yeah, so, Break Ride in general, this card combos so goddamn well. This is really the card that brought this damn deck, this clan up to tier 2. Roughly tier 2. Which I'm pretty happy about. This is one of the few cards that bumped it up to tier 2. This thing can stop This thing can help you in so many different ways. So many ways. Against just about any clan, regardless of what it is. So it's, you know what, your break ride, your opponent has no other grade 3s. They've already rolled their main grade 3 that they don't plan to rewrite again if they don't have another copy. They're just not going to stand. They'll play some rear guards. What does it matter? I'm just going to drop a 1040 if you're not drive checking. So I'm just going to swing at you again. There's a grand possibility that I'm going to get a free turn. And on top of that, to make things even worse for you, I'm not going to lie, yes, I'm a pancake. I'm a goddamn pancake. I understand that. I am a flip-flopper. When Warsicle comes out, I will be running 2 of that. I'll admit it. I'm taking out 2 of my Hercules and running 2 of him. Yes, I am. The craziest part about it is, if you block me, you're not standing with Warsicle. Plus, I broke road, your other units aren't standing either. So it just makes it so much better. It's just, the thing about it is, I would have preferably, I believe, personally I believe, if Warsicle had the generating crit, had the generating crit plus 10, just like Hercules, plus its effect to stop the Vanguard from standing if it's blocked, I think that Megacolony would have bumped to tier 1. That's what I believe. That's how I feel anyway. Yeah, but this, again, Break Ride combos very well. Fantastic card. And it also does really well with Centipede. So, if I just Break Ride Cyclomatooth over Cyclomatooth, Millipede has no requirement. It's just a 10k booster, so I'm going to be swinging for 33. So it's just so damn positive. It just is. And then for Hercules skill, obviously, as I was explaining before with some of the other cards, he counterblast 2E special. E special counterblast, 2 machinings, gets 10k in a crit, self-generate, and you can stop one unit on the field from standing of your selection, so it's actually really good. And then the second effect is Soul Blast 1, rest all the units on the field, and Machining Hercules gets plus 2. Again, this card combos fantastically with Millipede. So they're pretty much a goddamn duo. I mean, hell, I don't know what else would you want to call it. They're just fantastic together. They just are. There's really no much more of an explanation for this card. And last but not least, my triggers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, I had the camera down a little bit. And this is 8 crit. Yes, 8 crit for my machining deck. Because, preferably this deck sacks the living shit out of my opponents. I am guaranteed, after I pull off Hercules' effect, I guarantee you, if I get that 2 to pass, I'm already crit 2. So if I swing and get the hit, with all the buffs that I just did, that's 3 damage. You're not surviving that, I guarantee you. The chance of my opponent pulling a heal trigger half of the time is really freaking low, so I'm guaranteed the W at the end of the day. I like the crit 3 sack. It's just so damn good. 4 draw triggers, again, me whimpering about not having draw triggers. We need more draw triggers in our life, but yeah, you essentially would want to run for the draw trigger. You need that for the hand power. And last but not least, for heal. Machining heal. Yeah, that's it. This was indeed a very long video. Sorry, I started to preach way too much. Sorry about that, but I can't help it. This is legitimately my favorite clan. Next to Bermuda Triangles. I love Megacolony. I've been playing it since the get-go, so I couldn't help but preach. Anyway, that aside, this is indeed my deck profile. Any questions, leave it in the comment section below. All that said and done, I will see you guys later. This is Asama Taka from Team Stand and Draw. Take it easy, y'all.